Ever come across someone who's in trauma as a result of unemployment? The one who survived from a boat sinking, who lives in another country being humiliated and eventually forced to go back to his or her country. Hello and welcome to ETV World. In this program, we will see how millions of Ethiopians are suffering as a result of unemployment and their future aspirations in light of the promising flagship project, the GERD. Do stay with us. I'm Tabitha John. On the first day of March 126 years ago, traditional warriors, farmers and pastoralists, as well as women, defeated a well-armed Italian army in the northern town of ADWA in Ethiopia. The outcome of this battle ensured Ethiopia's independence, making it the only African country never to be colonized. ADWA turned Ethiopia into a symbol of freedom for black people globally. ADWA turned Ethiopia into the symbol of redemption and freedom for black people. Marcus Garvey, William Du Bois, Bob Marley and others drew inspiration from the African victory. The first Afro-Brazilian newspaper was named O Menelik, publishing pride in black identity and African connection with prominent women writers from 1915 to 1916. ADWA connected black people with Africa's ancient glory and future hope. As Marcus Garvey wrote, "Look to Africa for the crowning of a black king. He shall be the redeemer." The green, yellow and red Ethiopian flag was adopted by several African countries after colonial liberation, and a universal national anthem was created for black people. For the current generation, ADWA has two pictures. One, a nation whose pride of heroes' deeds of his or her forefathers who never bow for white masters. The second is the youngest generation who flee to different corners of the world in search for better work. The second choice is bitter, as Bittrex for Ethiopians to migrate outside and work in difficult situations. However, it became compulsory for survival. One of the destinations where most Ethiopians flee is the Middle East, particularly Saudi Arabia. The Eastern migration route is one of the main migration routes globally, running from the Horn of Africa to Saudi Arabia. It is among the busiest maritime migration routes. Reports on 2019 movements indicate an average of 11,500 people boarding every month, with 63% of the migratory movement tracked in the Horn of Africa region. Between 2017 and early 2020, at least 400,000 Ethiopians reached the Arabian Peninsula through this route. Despite the high risks associated with irregular migration, Ethiopians still find the Middle East as an escape from dire living conditions because job opportunities are available there. Unfortunately, hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians aren't allowed access to visa and work permit in many Middle Eastern countries, basically following sabotage and pressures undertaken by historical enemies of Ethiopia. And hence, many Ethiopians are forced to go back to their country while in suffering. Thus, the Ethiopian government has decided to repatriate more than 100,000 of its citizens from Saudi Arabia. In the last 7 to 8 months, close to 70,000 were repatriated from Saudi Arabia. Repatriating them all has psychosocial, economic and political implications. Furthermore, repatriating such amount of citizens from Saudi Arabia isn't a simple task for the government of Ethiopia. The IOM stressed that meeting the needs of the 100,000 returnees is going to be an enormous challenge for the government, IOM and partners. Human rights organizations have for several years denounced the detention of conditions of Ethiopian migrants in Saudi Arabia. Because transportation cost, food, temporary accommodation, medical help and counseling services are among a few requirements that the government of Ethiopia should fulfill. However, it is the responsibility of the government to safeguard its citizens who are living in dire situations abroad and carrying out its mandate. The question is, how long will Ethiopians flee to other countries in search of a better life? When does the suffering of Ethiopians last? How do the psychological trauma of citizens heal? For this and similar economic, social, political, and psychological questions, GERD, the flagship project, will have the answer. The multi-phases of GERD project isn't only generating power and lifting millions of citizens out of darkness. When GERD project is completed and fully operational, giant industries through investment will operate manufacturing with low cost of electric power and with less power outages. Thus, millions of citizens will be hired in the job opportunities created by these industries. And therefore, citizens will no more migrate to other countries. Their human rights will not be violated. Their psychology will not get hurt. Losing life in the deserts of Arabian Peninsula, Gulf of Eden, and Horn of Africa will become history. What millions of unemployed Ethiopians desire will eventually be changed into what they deserve: life with dignity, and overcome the legacy of exposing themselves to the risks of human trafficking and unforgettable trauma. The victory of ADWA enriches citizens to feel proud of their country, where they can work, establish families, and strive for prosperity of their country. In the course of regime changes and economic debacles, many Ethiopians were forced to leave their country and risk their lives. It eventually led them to be humiliated abroad. GERD will reverse the lost identity as a result of poverty. It is a game changer in Ethiopia's political economy, not like that of false narration of few countries who oppose its construction. And with this, we come to the end of our program, and do follow us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Goodbye for now.